Hello, my name's Larry Sefton, and welcome to my workshop. I've been asked by several people to show how to make a spiral wood burning tip and then do some pyrography with that tip. So let's go ahead, we'll get started to do that. And I'm going to zoom in on what I'm going to do. But now I'm going to be putting this on a hollow form. And then we'll probably step over and I will show you how I'm going to embellish the hollow form after the pyrography is done. So anyway, let's go get started. The first step is going to be to make a tip. And in this particular case, I'm going to be using 12 gauge nichrome wire. This particular wire is nichrome 80. Some people like to use nichrome 60 for this, but it's pretty hard to find nichrome 60 in 12 gauge. The first thing for making the point is you take it like this, and you're going to have to make a straight up. What's interesting here, just for reference sake, there's dots on here. Those are 1 inch increments. That's so we know about how much metal that we use. So let's first, this will be the center or the up side. Now the sharper you can make that, the better, that particular corner. And it's very hard to get that real tight and get that straight. One thing you can do is you can take it over to your vise and actually hit it and flatten it out. So I'm going to go over to the vise and do that right now. I'll be right back. Now I'm back with you. If you look, you can see how sharp that little angle is right there, but you want that about as sharp as you can get it. If it doesn't want to bend real sharp there, you can take a propane torch and heat it up red hot, and it'll bend a lot easier. This is a annealed wire, but if you anneal it or have it red hot, it will quite often bend a lot easier for you. Then you just take your pliers and you start making a loop. And that is easier said than done because of the 12 gauge wire. It is very difficult to work with it. Your other wires are a lot easier to work with because they bend easier. So what you do is get close to it. I actually need a different pair of pliers. What you want to do is squeeze this particular part right here and get the loop quite. Let's lift this up. You're trying to get that loop real tight right there. There we go. The hardest part is over. To get that first little bit right there nice and tight, that is the hardest part of this with this heavier wire. Now we got that. All you gotta do now, now it's all easy. You just start rotating to make your coil. You make your coil as tight as you want. You'll make it a little bit tighter there. Keep working it. You now have your spiral. You could make it a little bit tighter just by pulling that in, so I'm going to make it a little tighter. And now what we need to do is have the upright so that it goes into the burner, the handpiece. I'm just going to grab a hold of it and do the same thing that I did before, and I'm going to pull that straight up. This one does not need to be quite as sharp as the other one. But just remember that's going to be the end of where it burns. So the next thing you want to do is cut it off. And you now have your coil that we're going to use. As you go through, you want to make sure that it's nice and flat. There we go. That's your coil. What we're going to do now is, you don't need to see me putting it into the handpiece. I'm going to put it in the handpiece, do some burning on the hollow form, and then I will show you the last step of doing the pyrography on the hollow form. I'm back with you. Here's the I tightened it up a little bit and made it a little bit tighter, but here's the brand or the piece that I did. Now you're going to see that it's in the handpiece. This particular handpiece is a really heavy duty one. That is 6 gauge copper that's coming into it, and then heavy duty connectors. And from here to here, that is actually about 7 inches of number 12 wire whenever you finally measure it. In this particular case, I'm going to be using my homemade burner or scorcher. This is a foot pedal that goes with it, and what I do is I use this as a safety feature. I put it under me or put it under my foot. That way I don't accidentally get up and leave this thing on by accident. Let's go ahead and turn it on. And you're going to see I got it on. And it should slowly come up to voltage here. Let's turn it up. You'll see it turn red hot. I'm going to turn it back. And that's running at around 1300 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, the particular piece I've already started burning was this one right here, this hollow form. If you're going to be burning this particular hollow form, is box elder. Box elder is a kind of a soft wood. It takes branding, deep branding, very well. If you were to look at it real close, and I'll move it up close, you can see how deep those burns really are in there. So what we'll do is go ahead and do some of the burning on it. Sometimes I use a curved piece so that I can go like this. This particular case, I'm just going to go be using it in here, and you can see how quickly it brands and how deep it goes. Now, one thing I'm going to tell you, you can see how I'll hold that up. You can see just how deep it goes in. The recovery time is pretty quick on this. And that's really all there is to it. What you got to be careful of is, in this particular case, the wall thickness on this is 1/4 inch. If you were getting down around 1/8 of an inch, whenever you go that deep, you're going to burn right through the piece. And then what I did, you'll notice that there were some lines on there. What I did was just put a couple to break it up. And if you want to, you can make a little curved line. And that's basically what I did on the whole thing. You really don't need to sit and watch me brand the whole thing. And the next step will be to finish off and paint it. For those interested, that is a homemade machine that I made. I call it the Scorcher 2. The reason I call it the Scorcher 2 is there's a high side. There's a high side and a low side. This is slightly more powerful than the commercial units out there, and the other one, obviously you can see that you can do 12 gauge. I've done up to 10 gauge wire with it. Next, this fills up each one of these grooves. Spirals fills up with ash. You can probably see some of the ash right there. A brush, one of these brass brushes, just does not get down inside, and you do not want to use a real stiff brush because it'll scratch up your wood. So what you pretty much have to do on these is you take something like this little wood stick and loosen up that ash on each one of them. As you can see, it's loosening up, and you go around each one of them and clean them out. It takes a little time, but it's not too bad. You can we'll do a couple more, we'll finish them off. And now you can use your brush to finish it off. Normally I do this over a trash can or a piece of paper because it does take a lot of black on it. Some of you are probably saying, why don't I use a metal dental tool? I found that if I do that, sometimes I chip the wood or scratch it too much. A little piece of metal, a piece of wood like that does a real good job. I see I didn't get that one either. Now that they're cleaned out, I'm going to show you just how deep those are. You can see just how deep those burns are. That's what's nice about the box elder. It allows you to do real deep branding or pyrography. It's really about all there is to it. We'll take the next step, which will be dyeing it, and then putting or embellishing the paint surface on it. Welcome back to my shop. This will be the second half of this video. This is on how I plan on embellishing or putting a finished coat or a paint on it. As you recall, these spirals are quite deep, so we're going to try and take advantage of those so that they really give it some great texture. However, this being box elder, it's going to absorb a lot of paint, and the other thing regarding it is that if somebody drops it or chips the surface, you don't want that to be shine through the white. So what I'm going to do is put a base coat on this of black. And to do that, I just use plain ordinary Indian ink. This is the Bic brand. What I'm going to do is just fill up the container here and use it right out of this container here. Don't know how much I'm going to need. That looks pretty good right there. If anybody's interested, the particular brown paper here is a waterproof paper. You can buy it on Amazon. It's excellent for putting on things and keeping your paints and stuff from soaking through everything. In addition, I've put this gets quite sloppy, so I've put a paper towel under me. Just pour a bunch of it in and then pour it back out. Give it a good squirt, and then what I'm going to do is just roll it around, and you'll probably see it starting to come through the grain. You can see it just coming through all that grain. Do a little bit like that, come around, and look and make sure there's some area in there that isn't covered. This is quite fun, really. And I got everything covered, so what I'm going to do now is just dump it out. See if there's any in there. And wipe it off with my hands. Go ahead and take this and wet it nice. I'm just going to go ahead and wet it kind of really good. And this box elder just takes this dye, just absorbs it, goes, it does such a great job. That's why I like the box elder. And I don't look for box elder that has all the red in it. I just use regular box elder that's been cut down. I know most people say, oh, they got to have the red. Well, as you know, the red ends up fading out. When I was brand new at wood turning, I came across some really great red box elder. I drove another hour to pick it up after I found it, took my chainsaw, spent a couple hours cutting it all up, and I spent days making beautiful hollow forms with it. And then guess what I found out? It was really nice on my shelf for years, and then it just turned yellow and ended up all the red was gone. And now that's in a big pile, actually in a box, ready to be resurfaced and probably do some pyrography or something on it and refinish it and have it totally used for something different. That's it. Depending on how much is in there, I'll pour it back in. If it's not contaminated, which this one isn't contaminated, pour it back in. Clean up. And then tomorrow, after this all dries, we'll do a second version of this, of how I plan on but we'll see how we want to do it. I'll look at it tomorrow and make a decision of how I want to finish it. It's day 2 of this project of finishing off this hollow form and doing the embellishing. And as you remember, the last thing I did was put the dye on it, and then I took it and I have to dry it. Now the way I dry it, what I do is I have just a little platform like this, and I use gaffer's tape. I take a little piece of gaffer's tape and tape 1 or 2 of the hoses from an air pump, an aquarium air pump, and put it on there. And then I put the piece down over top of it, turn on the air pump, and pump air into it. And then I will place a fan such as this one on it and prop it up, maybe something like that at a distance. If I can get it to go, there we go. And just leave that blow on it for about 24 hours, and it will usually dry. By putting it on the inside like that, it dries a little bit faster on the inside and gets it. If you are going to get a air pump, look at the noise that it makes. Some of them are extremely noisy, and you just don't want to have them if you got them in your house somewhere. They just are too. If they're in your shop, it really doesn't make much difference. But watch what ones you get. Now, with that said, this piece is totally dry. Let me set it off to one side. Let me set all this stuff off to the side. If you remember, I made the comment that if you burned and had wood too thin, you could actually go burn through it, if you remember. Well, we have the opportunity for design. Not everything goes the way you think it's going to. It didn't go the way I wanted it. And turned out after I dyed it and dried it, I noticed that I had a couple pinholes that actually went through the wood. And so that you can see what I'm talking about, I'm I'm going to stick this light into it and see if I can find it here. If you look, can you see you'll see it glare there in the light. That's a hole, and there's actually two holes there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I repair something like that, and that's what we're going to do. It was not planned, but as you know, in wood turning, there's always design opportunities, or you have to repair things. What I'm going to do is use a product that I've used for years. It's made by System 3, and it's called Fillet, Easy Fillet. I came across it. I don't know I don't know too many people that are using it. Before I start though, I'm going to go ahead and put these rubber gloves on. I use disposable gloves because quite often there's a little bit of residue on the can, and you end up getting it on your hand. If you do get the residue and stuff on your hand, it comes off quite easily if you use something like one of the alcohol gel squirt bottles, the sanitizer, hand sanitizer. It's alcohol based. This stuff comes off very well with alcohol. So I just use the alcohol base and put it on something and wipe it off. So this particular material is basically a two-part material. Many of you you've used stuff like that before. And this particular material, you can either do it by weight or by volume. We aren't going to need a whole lot, so I'm going to just do it using a very small, accurate scale. I'm going to turn it on. It'll go like this. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just break this stick in half, and I'm going to take it's two parts of this material right here, two parts of that, and that's going to be way more than what I need, but if you make too little, it's just too hard to handle. I have 1.2 grams. Let's take it up to about 2 grams to make it easier. Just a little bit more to make it a little easier. We have 2 grams, actually 2.04 to be exact, of the main material. So I don't contaminate the other material. I'm going to lay that right there. And now I want to put in 1 gram of the hardener. I'm just going to tear it back out. And we'll put 1 gram of that in. That's a half a gram. Exactly 1.00 grams. I think we got it. Let's set that aside. And then what I do is I just mix it up. We'll go ahead and use one of these to mix it with. Like I said, this is going to make a lot more than what I need. Now, this particular material typically takes about 24 hours for it to harden. And they actually used it for, I think, boat building was where they used it. And the color comes out a lot like mahogany whenever it dries. You can actually see the material, the color of it. And it darkens up as it dries. So it looks quite a lot like mahogany. And it machines or turns, grinds, sands, whatever, almost just like wood. You don't have to rush this stuff. And as you can see, it's easy to form. It's almost like you can spread it. You can add a little bit of extra, let's say sawdust to it if you want it a little bit thicker, but I've never really had to. And this has saved my bacon, as they would say, many, many times for repairs where I can go in, build something up, and then especially if it's being painted, which this will be. So all I'm going to do is take this, find the hole that I was working on, if I can find it here. Let's put the glasses back on. There's the hole. And if it was a bigger hole, I'd put a balloon in it, but this is just such a small hole, I'm not going to worry about it. And I'm going to just push it down into it. And you might think that's a little gunky, but you will see what I'm going to do after I am done. I'm pushing it down into the hole and going to build that up just a little bit. Wipe that out. And if you look at it real close, not sure you can see it there. There you go. Let's see if I can get it. There you go. It, right there. You can see it right there. I filled it in. And what we'll do tomorrow, I'll come back and I'll show you how I'm going to fix that tomorrow after that dries out. I'm just going to go ahead and push it down in with my finger. Clean it up. And now what I'm going to do is check and make sure I don't have any additional ones that I need to fill. Ah, there's another one. I assumed there was going to be more than one. And we'll let that sit. We will now let that sit overnight and come back to this in the morning tomorrow. We're now on the next day. As you recall, we filled it in with the filler material. And as you can see, it turned quite hard here. And you can machine it, cut it, sand it, do just about anything you want with it, paint it. What I'm going to do right now is zoom in so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. What we're going to do, I have an NSK with a very fine ball on it, and I'm going to carve some of that out so that it looks more real, like it was intentional, and repair those holes that we had done, that we filled the other day. You could do this with a Dremel with a very fine point, or any of the other rotating carvers that you have. It just so happens I have the NSK and it was hooked up to the air system, so that's what we're going to be using today is the NSK. So let me zoom in on this so you can see a little bit better what I'm doing. The NSK is running right now, and I'm just going to use this material right here, and if you watch you can see how nice it carves, and you can shape it quite nicely. I don't know if you can really see that real well, but yeah, you can do a pretty good job of sanding it. So let's go ahead and work on the piece, and let's find the area that it was, which is right here. Put on my glasses so I can see it better, and then all I'm going to do is just very lightly clean those up with the ball. The point behind this is so that whenever it's painted, it looks like it was the original burned area. So just very lightly carve it. And finally, you can just use a toothbrush or something to brush it out and make sure that you cleaned it up the way you wanted it to. The particular paint that I use quite often is this General Finishes Lamp Black. And I'm going to just take some of it out, put it in a container. Sometimes it's a little thick for what I'm going to do. You can see it's quite thick. I'm going to go ahead and take some out and set it aside. And because it's so thick, I just add a little bit of water to it because I'm going to put a top coat on it. I'm not too concerned about diluting it. Just a little bit of water. We'll thin it up. and find something to stop and find something to mix it up with. Go ahead and stir it up. In this particular case, I'm going to use two different brushes. One is a relatively stiff brush so that if I can get down inside the curves, and this is what's called a deer foot brush. If you look at the way it is cut, this is it's a deer foot, and it is a 3/8 inch deer foot brush. If you can possibly see the name on it, is what I'm using. What you don't want to do on painting this is you are not trying to protect the material and put a coat to waterproof it. And that's like painting a wall, painting your outside of your house. What we want to do is just put just enough paint on it to color it, and so that you won't lose the texture. So a lot of times it's more of a dry brush where you're rubbing it. So what I'm going to do is just start on the bottom, or let's start on this bottom, and we'll do it. And you can either dab it or just kind of make a swirl. And what you want to do is you want to work that paint down into those swerves or these circles without filling it with globs of paint. Otherwise you lose the texture. So what I do is I just sit here, and this will take probably about an hour to actually finish it all up, and we'll go. It's not a real fast process. Most of the time people want to just jump in and paint it like you would a house. But you can dab it. In this particular case, it's best that, now like that one does not want to go down in. So what I'm going to do is grab the other brush and just get a little bit of paint on it and get it down in that groove. I'm going to go clean my brushes, and later on today I will put a second coat on it, and I'll record how long that took me to do the second coat and get it ready. And after we do the second coat and it dries, we'll put the finish coat of top coat on it, so that it's more like a piece of furniture and can be handled a little better and wiped off with cleaners. I'm back with you to do the second coat of paint on this. It actually looks quite good just the way it is, but another coat of paint will help it fill in some of the imperfections and just overall make it a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use the same exact technique that I used before, where I dipped it in and then swirled it around. And then off camera, I finished this hollow form. I ended up using Pyrography or a fine wood burner and put my name on the bottom along with the year and the number, the serial number of this particular item. I've also loaded into my computer and will be taking a picture of it, a close-up picture. However, to finish it, I elected not to use a flat material. Whenever I looked at it, I thought it just needed a little bit more sheen. I do not like real shiny items. I learned that from Bin Pho years ago. He used to use a word no shiny, no shiny, because the way it reflects in the hard surfaces of making photos of it. He believed in satins and flats. So I ended up using a satin material on this. I ended up using a rattle can, and the one that I used on this particular one was a satin Rust-Oleum material. I did it outside in relatively low humidity, so that I didn't, and you can see the final results. The things that I don't like about this is where I had to do the filling, which is right about here. You can't necessarily see it. They aren't quite as sharp, and they're a little bit rough. Nobody's really going to pay much attention to it. They'll just think it's part of the design. I know it's there. You'll know it's there. But overall, it's quite acceptable, and it's good. Name of it, I've been trying to think of a good name. It's kind of short, squat. What's nice about it is it doesn't roll around when somebody picks it up, and whenever you hold it, it feels correctly. I'm just going to call it maybe a name of short and sweet for a name. I like to name my pieces whenever I refer to it. So I ended up, again, using this. In a summary, I'm not sure how anybody could really do this without their homemade pyrography machine, because there's none out there commercially that you can use 12 gauge wire approximately 7 inches long and make a spiral and put them that deep.